This week's topic was books that we really enjoyed when we were kids. The first proper books I read were these ones. The Harry Potter books were among some of the first books that I ever read as a child. And then this was my mum's actually. She has nearly the entire collection of Enid Blyton books, and Magic Faraway Tree was my favourite. I used to think it was hilarious. I loved these books. One of my favourite books ever when I was about 7 or 8 was Double Act by Jacqueline Wilson. I used to pretend that I was a twin. This book was really, really good, and I always loved all the little pictures. The Borrowers by Mary Norton. The writing's quite big in this copy that I have, which I always quite liked when I was younger because I felt like it was a lot easier to read. I loved it to pieces. This was a good book. Another book that I absolutely loved was The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 3/4. I do have a place in my heart where Adrian Mole lives because Adrian Mole is great. He's really, really funny and he's so unlucky, bless him. I always like the blurb of this book. Pandora and I are in love, it is official. She told Claire Nelson, who told Nigel, who told me. I told Nigel to tell Claire to tell Pandora that I return her love. I am over the moon with joy. I can overlook the fact that Pandora smokes 5 Benson and Hedges a day and has her own lighter. When you are in love, such things cease to matter. Everybody should read this. This beautiful copy of this book is Heidi by Joanna Spyri, I think. And this was a lovely little book. It's about a little girl who goes to live, I think it's like up a mountain with her granddad. There's a few little pictures in it, like this one. And it says, Heidi rushed forward to welcome her old friend. I'm not sure who her old friend is, he looks a bit creepy. Look at his face. A bit weird. But yeah, this book was great, and I love this copy so much because it's so pretty. I like it on my bookshelf. Another book that I really enjoyed when I think I started these when I was about 8, and I still haven't finished because I don't own number 11. That's the only one I don't own. The Bad Beginning, which is the first in the A Series of Unfortunate Events series by Lemony Snicket. It tells you not to read them and that they're extremely unpleasant. And they are. I feel so bad for the Baudelaire siblings because so much bad stuff happens to them, and it does make for quite an interesting story, but I did feel really, really bad for them, and I'm very glad that I don't have their life, even though I often wish I was Violet Baudelaire because she's great, and I used to tie my hair with a ribbon just because Violet Baudelaire did. The series is really good, and I really enjoyed these when I was younger. My friend made me read Vampirates by Justin Samper, and this is the 5th book, I think. I'm not sure, it doesn't actually say on it. But these were really good books. They're literally, like the name is in the title, they are books about vampire pirates. And it's a really interesting take on like what could happen if like the world floods, basically. It's a really, really sweet book, even though there's lots of like violence and death. Not that much though, because it is for younger children. And the last series that I have is one of my favourite series of all time, I think. Like, it's up there with Harry Potter because it's really good. His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. They did make the first one into a film, The Golden Compass, which was sort of good, but then they never made the rest, so we don't talk about it. And yes, I do have the movie covers of all 3, which is really upsetting. They're all the same. Because my mum bought them for Christmas when the film was coming out the next year, and so the only books they were selling, basically, the only covers of these they were selling were the film covers, which is a bit disappointing. My favourite in the trilogy was always The Amber Spyglass. Beautifully written, and it's just full of all kinds of detail that's just amazing. And this is the book where all the good stuff happens, and I am still not over the ending. I will never be over the ending of this book because it's traumatic, and I cried for ages, and I was like 10 when I read these, and I'd never really cried at a book before, apart from, obviously, let's not talk about The Deathly Hallows, but I cried my eyes out at this book because the ending is so traumatising and horrible, and especially for like a children's book. It's really, really upsetting, and I don't even count the ending sometimes. I like have a headcanon that they left a door open in the universe and they still see each other okay. Anyway, those were my favourite books, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. You should definitely go and read every single book that I've mentioned in this video, because even though they're written for children, they're all brilliant. So yeah, see ya!